Yeah, I think it should be an annual.
Thought I wanted to. Did one halfway
I
through.
haven't seen Jim in a long time.
I don't know if you are. I'm okay with doing that. I don't know if
4
you're
hours.
taking it off on the speed.
But I also did this, so,
Right.
you know,
I already have a
when you're doing this,
speech impediment.
Sorry, I'm not even sure.
We did the field house one.
yeah. I just do.
Well, these are sensitive. Careful what you say.
Because we're out,
Can we turn his down a little bit?
Hello?
we're on.
Hot mics.
Your chair back. Was this on one side?
Everyone for being here tonight at this joint meeting of the Coconino County Supervisors and the Coconino Community College District Governing Board. I would like to start by sharing with you a statement. Our students brought forward this statement and then worked with the Indigenous Students Organization and worked with staff and faculty and brought it all the way forward to our district governing board for approval. And I'm very proud of the work they did, and I would like to share this with you. On behalf of Coconino Community College, we would like to express our gratitude and appreciation to the sacred land on which this educational institution resides. Sacred sites located within Coconino County include the San Francisco Peaks, Oak Creek Canyon, Sedona Red Rocks, the Colorado River, the Little Colorado River, the Colorado River Confluence, the Grand Canyon, and many more sites. This land has been inhabited by the Sonawa and ancestral Pueblo for thousands of years. Currently, the Zuni, Apache, Yavapai, Wallapai, Havasupai, Paiute, Dene, Hopi, and many other Arizona tribal nations recognize this land as a significant spiritual place. This sacred land is enriched with Indigenous history and culture that lives on to this day. We, as a community, with our CCC family and friends, are very fortunate to live, work, and share this unique location. Thank you.
All right, well done. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is a combined meeting of the Coconino County Community College District and Governing Board and the Coconino County Board of Supervisors. And for the sake of the Board of Supervisors, I'm calling the meeting to order, and I'll turn to Chairman Nat White.
And I will likewise call to order the meeting of the District Governing Board of Coconino Community College on this September 15th, 2021 at 4:13. And I would like to add that the board thanks you, supervisors, and appreciate your time to participate in this joint meeting. Our services may be different, but we serve the same area and the same people. Our challenges in providing the services, financial, legislative issues, are all similar topics. So it is appropriate and useful to hold occasionally joint meetings, and in this case, to also celebrate our community college's 30th birthday. So thank you very much for being here.
And I haven't scripted it, but I have ever since. You were so kind of, it was so kind of you, Coconino County Community College, to provide us with Steve Peru as our county manager. And I've always told Dr. Smith that I owe her, and she's reminded me that I owe her. And the first installment, I've taken forever, but I brought your first installment, Dr. Smith. And Steve's been a pleasure, as you well know, to work with.
It's good to know I'm worth the price of mums.
Well, I was going to say, this is a beautiful gift, but, you know, Steve's worth a lot more, so I expect a lot more in the future.
First installment.
Okay.
Bid it up, bid it up. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and Mr. Eric Eichenberg, please lead us.
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Eric. Eric is a veteran, a Marine veteran.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
Matt as well.
That's right.
So at this time, we will introduce the board members, and what I'd like to do for the governing board is to start with Trustee Garcia and work towards me.
Oh, I'm Patty Garcia, a member of the Coconino Community College District Governing Board, representing District 2.
Hello, I'm Joseph Smith, representing District 5. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, I'm Eric Eichenberg, and I represent District 3.
And I'm Nat White, and I represent District 1, and I'd like to say that one of our oldest governing board members, Patrick Hurley, could not make it. He's really sorry, and he expresses his really firm belief that meetings like this with the supervisors are very valuable. So thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely. And it's wonderful to be here because we share so much in common. I'm Matt Ryan, so I'm supervisor representing District 3. That, you know, Eric and I have to continue to tell everybody we are the center of the county, number 3, the best of the best, just like Will Smith. And okay, I better pass it over to the rest of our board here.
Yes, number 1, actually, as is Nat White. So Patrice Horstman, Coconino County Board of Supervisors, District number 1, with my cohort Nat White here. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeronimo Vasquez, Supervisor, District 2, which we're standing in right now.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. We've been through the introduction of everybody.
Do you want to indicate that we do have 2 board members, I think, that are on Zoom? Is that right, or 1?
Yeah, actually, can Lena?
Okay.
Okay, let's try Lena.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
This is Lisa Fowler, Coconino County Supervisor for District 5. I apologize that I am not there in person. I learned this afternoon that I may have been exposed to, so I thought to just take caution and just call in instead. So I apologize. I was really looking forward to this meeting, but it turned out that for some reason I can't attend. So anyway, but I'm with you. I'm here. Thank you.
And I should also note, thank you, Supervisor Horstman, Patrice. Judy Begay, Supervisor Begay, representing District 4, also is quarantining in place. And so obviously sending her regrets. She also would definitely appreciate this opportunity to meet with all of us.
Thank you. So at this point, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I will second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Is there any nays? No? Passed unanimously. All right. Our next agenda item is adoption of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda or take anything out of it to discuss or whatever?
I'll move to adopt the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. I was notified that there have been no folks to speak to the board from the public, so we'll move past that agenda item. This agenda item is Coconino Community College and Coconino County collaboration. And Mr. Steve Prue and Dr. Colleen Smith will preside.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairs White and Ryan. Steve Prude, County Manager. I'm here today to present an update on a process that, in addition to many other partnerships that the county and the community college share, one of the partnerships lies within the district boundaries that both the county and the district governing board share. And so I'm going to give a brief update on the process for redistricting for 2021. So the three maps that you see here reflect legislative, congressional, and of course the county boundary maps. I'll be speaking briefly about all three of them. For background, the process of redistricting takes place every 10 years. Results of the census determines federal funding for many public programs provided by state and local governments, as well as higher education. And so oftentimes when we're looking at grants and public funding, population figures are used that are created or derived from the census. The population data, as indicated, is used to draw legislative and congressional districts, and also in Arizona by counties to create redistricting plans that comply with the constitutional mandate that districts be equally populated. A few numbers from the most recent, of course, the census in 2020. Population for the state of Arizona, 7.1 million. In 2010, it was 6.3. Looking at Coconino County in 2020, 145,000, with 2010 figures being 134,000. Legislatively, we have 30 districts with 2 representatives and one senator per district, and then congressionally, 1 representative per district and 2 senators statewide. States and local governments were expecting the data from the census earlier this spring, but due to COVID, that was delayed till summer, and then we actually ended up receiving the census data in September. It should be noted also that many people in Arizona were expecting that with the population increases that Arizona would have earned a 10th congressional district. That did not occur. There's a predominant feeling that because of COVID, the census was undercounted. And many states and local governments are looking at that in a number of different ways because, of course, the census numbers is used in so many different ways for a lot of different purposes. So again, that's an issue that's in play at this time. I'm going to switch over to the Independent Redistricting Commission on the state and congressional side. November of 2000, voters passed Prop 106, a citizen initiative that amended the Arizona Constitution by removing the power to draw congressional and state legislative districts from the legislature and reassigning the task to the RRC. RRC is a 5-member commission with 2 members from each party and 1 independent. And then using census numbers, as we all do, the commission's task is to divide Arizona into the 30 legislative and 9 congressional districts, again, equally populated with a plus or minus variance of no more than 5%. That process is taking place now. The RRC has been meeting several times a week to look at the maps for legislative and congressional. Of course, the federal requirement to adhere to the Voting Rights Act is very prominent in this process. And of course, when we look at communities of interest, this plays a major role in the final drawing of the maps. Anticipated completion of this process will happen in December, and that's for congressional and legislative. Switching over to the county, the Board of Supervisors and the community college share the same district boundaries, and so using the process, we take the 2020 population of 145, divide that by 5, the number of districts, and we end up with a target population of just over 29,000. Again, we use the plus or minus 5% variance. Public outreach will commence actually later in October through November with districts being adopted. Our target date is December 1st, although legislation was introduced at the last legislative session that adjusted that final date, and so we're getting additional information on that. But any changes that occur, or changes that will occur with regard to county redistricting would go into effect January of 2022. This is a little hard to read. So the guidelines, when we're putting together the process for redistricting, we must adopt guidelines by which those plans are determined. These are guidelines that we used back in 2011 that apply to this day. So again, drawing districts of equal population, using census data, and also using the 5% variance of plus or minus in terms of the deviation. 2, do not dilute the voting strength of racial and language minority groups. Preserve the ability of minority districts to elect representatives of their choice. When considering the ability of districts to elect minority representatives, the voting age population should be considered rather than the census population numbers. 3rd, preserve communities of interest. 4th, districts must be compact and contiguous and use census block boundaries as district boundaries and do not split voting precincts. Fifth one, maintain traditional geographic and political boundaries. 6, do not create a substantial long-term negative effect or impact on a specific political party. Political parties should have a fair chance to influence the political process. 7, base the new map on existing districts to the extent possible. And then the 8th and final one, when drawing district boundaries, take into account current incumbents and where they live and where they reside within the district. And so those are the criteria that were adopted for this process as well. This is a map of the Coconino County with the districts outlined. And so you'll see, of course, within districts 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. And it's again, it's a great opportunity to be presenting to the Community College District Governing Board because of the fact that they share districts within the county. And so you can see just the visual, the map here, and then the inset, we go within the city itself and create districts within the city limits as well. So based on the 2020 numbers, in the range when we take into account the 5% plus or minus from that target population, we have a range of 30,471 at the top, and then 27,569 at the bottom. So within that range, based on here are the census numbers for 2020, you see that District 1, based on the 2020 census, is overpopulated. We see that District 2, however, is actually within the range of the target population. District 3 is overpopulated. And then we see the opposite in Districts 4 and 5, where those two districts are underpopulated, again, based on the 2020 numbers. And so as a result of the numbers, the process now is to create a mapping scenario or scenarios that will equalize to the extent possible within that 5% range the population that you see here. So in this case, we're going to be reducing population in districts 1 and 3 and adding population in districts 4 and 5. And while you may feel that District 2 is fine, it doesn't need to be adjusted, that is not always the case, because in the process of adjusting the map, it's kind of a domino effect. And so you will probably end up seeing scenarios where District 2 also has to be adjusted within its boundaries. Currently, we have a public input process. We have a a website off the county's webpage that describes the process, provides additional information. We also have maps that can be used by the public to create scenarios. In addition to that, well, here's the mapping address. We also have an email address, redistricting@coconino.az.gov, and this is for us to receive public input on mapping scenarios. This coming Tuesday, the 26th, staff will be presenting mapping scenarios, plural, for the board to review. From there, we would be asking for board adoption of scenarios, and then those mapping scenarios would then be taken out through a public input process that will go with that'll take place in October and November, and hope to wrap up by the end of the calendar year. Schedule of process I just went over right now. In September, we received the data from the census. We've looked at stakeholders and communities of interest, finalized online and website materials. We're currently soliciting initial public input. We'll be presenting mapping scenarios on the 26th. Outreach as indicated, October, November. Adoption of a redistricting plan. It can take place anywhere from mid-November through December, and so needing to wrap up in December because the changes that are adopted go into effect January 2022. And I believe, Mr. Chair, that is the information. Staff is here, of course, to answer any questions that the board or the district governing board may have.
And it's a great opportunity. We've seen this start to unfold, but it gives an opportunity for you to see what we're looking at, how it may affect each of you in terms of districts. Do you have any questions? Go ahead, Eric.
I do have a question. It was all very clear, actually, but one thing I was confused by, one of the criteria was to take into account the incumbent. What does that mean, and how does that affect this?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Member Eikenberry. So the incumbents, what we look at is where you live. Okay. And so we have addresses for each of you, and we plotted those out on the map so that when we're creating mapping scenarios, that we don't unintentionally out-district you.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I've also got a question in regards to the same list that Mr. Eikenberry was referring to. So it was listed 1 through 8 or whatever it is. So are those in order as priorities, or is it?
No, not in order of priority. They all have equal ranking or equal standing within the list.
Thank you.
All right. And actually, Nat leaned over to me and said, we don't have the PowerPoint for the trustees for here. If we could get that to them, email to them, that would be very helpful.
I guess I do have one other quick question. I know that the congressional districts are being considered as well, and District 1 is, most of us fall into Congressional District 1. And are they held to the same criteria as they draw up their district?
Yes. So the legislative and congressional lines follow the same process as governed or is directed by the Independent Redistricting Commission. So they're going through the same process. In the case of their mapping activity, they're looking at having a draft map ready within the next week or week and a half. That draft map will then be going through a 30-day public input process. But now's the time, and actually throughout the last month or so, has been the time to provide as much input to the process as possible. And so while we have not missed an opportunity yet, I would say within the next week, if jurisdictions and communities within Coconino County want to influence the final, or at least the draft map, now's the time to submit input. Coconino County, the Board of Supervisors, did submit 2 mapping scenarios, one for congressional, one for legislative. The points or the goals of submitting those maps was feedback from the community to keep cities within the county whole. In this case, of course, the cities Flagstaff, Williams, Page, Fredonia, Sedona, to keep those whole, because in the past we've had mapping scenarios or maps that have been adopted, and these maps, they're with us for 10 years,
Right.
that have split communities, and so now's the time to provide that input.
Steve, if I may, would we provide input as individuals, or would we as a board provide input?
Either will be acceptable. If you go onto the Arizona Independent Redistricting Commission website, there is a section for draft maps. There have been probably, I think, over 120 maps that have been submitted by individuals, organizations, and jurisdictions.
Thank you.
All right, other questions? I probably would add to the comments that Steve had made associated with the legislative and congressional. We have a presence in the discussions, and there are all kinds of scenarios. The last IRC maps ended up splitting our communities, where we're trying to work together with our communities, keep communities whole, communities of like interests whole. Also, a consideration of the Clean Elections Act, looking at minority majority district like District 7 has currently, hoping to assure to have that happen. We continue to be in those discussions, but we are encouraging those within our regions to give input and help reinforce how we'd like to have be provided representation. Competitive district for District 6, that's one of the issues that we look at. Do you want to add anything?
Well, you did a good job of that, and obviously the Voting Rights Act, federal law, and which needs to be followed, although Section 5 has been taken out, and that is to draw a line such that you aren't diluting minority votes. And we, as a matter of principle, are maintaining the principles of Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add, Mr. Chairmans, plural. For the sake of elections, for the 22 election cycle, we'll have District 2 from the Board of Supervisors will be up for election. And this is not in the normal cycle. Board of Supervisors serve 4-year terms, but with the transition of Liz Archuleta to Geronimo Vasquez, Mr. Vasquez would be available to run for a new term beginning in the 22 election cycle. For the District Governing Board, I believe we have 2 District Governing Board members whose term would be up for the 22 election as well. And so adopting the maps and the scenarios at the county level is important because, of course, candidates present and those in the community would be looking at what districts or what's my area to collect signatures from. And so with our district system, candidates can only collect signatures, petition signatures, from their particular district.
Okay. Any other questions? Another election of note in the county would be school superintendent, because we appointed the school superintendent.
And those are countywide.
Yeah, countywide.
Mm-hmm. All right. With that, next up, I believe we have Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Chair Ryan and Chair White. I think everyone, it's interesting to note that our chairs are Nat and Matt. So I think they're probably developing a comedy routine that they're going to take on the road for us. Anyway, thank you so much for letting me speak with the Board of Supervisors and the District Governing Board. I have to share with you that some of my team has shared with me that people might not mind if my presentation didn't go too long. But then I also reminded them that my favorite thing in the world to talk about is Coconino Community College, so I can't guarantee, because I get very excited about the college, the students, and all of the wonderful colleagues I get to work with. So one of the things that I wanted to really point out is the whole idea of that we are, yes, celebrating 30 years as a community college, 30 years of putting students first, and then 30 years of serving Coconino County. And I think that's extremely important. When we talk about our community, we're talking about the entire county. And we have really focused on that in the last few years. Working with our college community, working with students, and working with community members beyond the college, we've worked to develop a new vision, mission over for the last couple of years. And one of the things that came up over and over again was the whole idea of really wanting people to understand that not only is it part of our philosophy and responsibility to serve the Coconino County, it's what we really want to do. And our vision is to be able to do it more than what we are able to right now. And of course, that will take, that's a little bit challenging financially. But I'm excited to share with you that we do a lot to serve our entire county. And this mission statement was meant to be bold. Everyone who worked on it, there were a lot of different ideas. And our board finally did the final wording, taking all the ideas, and I think it is inspiring, empowering individuals, inspiring communities, education with purpose. And I wanted you to know that education with purpose is one piece of our mission that came specifically from community members, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But they wanted people to know that there are specific purposes that they can achieve by going to Coconino Community College. This is our new mission statement. Again, it was developed working with our college community, and our district governing board did do the final wording. I am very proud of this mission, and I have to tell you the part I'm most proud of is deeply engaged with the communities we serve. And then it goes on to say we promote student success through a welcoming and inclusive environment. So this mission states what we're about, what our purpose is, what we're striving to do, and lists the major pieces of our education that we provide at Coconino Community College. And this is a statement that was, it took some time in wordsmithing and really working on. And we have, our district governing board has been working for several years, and I will tell you one of our board members has led the way, and that is board member Patty Garcia, in really helping the college as far as move forward with understanding, with educating about diversity and inclusion. And we now have a program that we're very proud of, and we do a lot of education with our employees and our students. And this is the statement that came forward and was developed by a committee, went to the college for feedback, went back to the committee, that went back and forth several times, and I am very proud of this. Coconino Community College recognizes and respects diversity and the value it brings to our communities. We appreciate and welcome cultures, identities, beliefs, and experiences, and all that makes us unique. CCC champions and takes action to build an inclusive work and learning environment. We are allies and advocates, navigating a respectful dialogue about our shared humanity. I think that's beautiful. I love the navigating a respectful dialogue about our shared humanity. Okay, then, after really reviewing our previous mission and vision, and then developing a new vision and mission, and that's what I just showed you, and there were some things that were similar to the previous ones, and some things that were very different. And that's part of the process, that as you grow as an institution and change and develop, so will your vision and mission. So we used our new vision and mission to develop a new strategic plan. And what I have before you are the strategic goals. And across our institution, we worked all together on one of our all-college in-service times, but then we also broke up into groups and people could volunteer to serve on any one of these teams. And one of the ones who was a co-team leader is sitting right here. He's just not here with us every day, but he is still working as part of that team, and I'll show you why. So primarily, this is to lead us into the future and serving all of Coconino County. Team excellence has to do with serving students and giving every single student an excellent and supported educational experience. I'm going to jump on down. You can read these. I know I shouldn't read them to you. And the supervisors, we have a brochure here. Now, our actual strategic plan is very lengthy and has all the actions that we're taking and how we will determine and assess if we are successful. But I wanted to go to team community on this. CCC will strengthen community engagement in support of student success through advocacy, strategic partnerships, and new fundraising initiatives. We are working very hard on that, and I see our county supervisors at many functions that are supporting us in that. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate that. And you saw some of that in the pictures that we had rolling through as you came in, such as when we were able to really kick off our CDL program and at our birthday parties and a variety of things. So team community, you'll hear a little bit about that again in a minute. And I wanted to share with you somebody that we've recently had an opportunity to bring onto the college, who is working with us for community outreach and engagement. His name is Cheyenne Grabiak. Cheyenne, if you would wave at everyone. And he's already been out there meeting people all over the county and working to help us with that community outreach. CCC champions. We have some of our Board of Supervisors that are a part of the CCC champions. And Steve Peru chairs that group for us, along with Nat White, our governing board chair. And this group has helped us and been supportive of us in many different ways. And they also they're a group that had input into our vision and mission. And we're still meeting regularly, and Steve is chairing that group for us. So thank you, Steve. We appreciate that. The foundation, we have many community members that are on the board of our Coconino Community College Foundation, and they are working to raise funds to help with a variety of things, but their primary focus is scholarships and more scholarships. And they do a great job, and if anybody's interested in serving on our foundation, we do happen to have a seat available, and we would love to have you. So we're very proud, and that community input helping us raise funds for scholarships is wonderful. Now I thought I would list just a few of the partnerships that we have with the county. And I know I'm just talking, so if you want to stop, and Steve, you might have some things that you want to say about some of these. But these are ongoing. The Arizona at Work, WIOA. We've done the Certified Apartment Maintenance Technician, we call it CAMT, along with several other kinds of partnerships that we've worked on with the county, all very successful. And to me, it's very exciting. Not only do we do these programs here, but we do them up in Page as well. So showing that we really are working to serve our entire county. The Detention Academy with the Sheriff's Department, we host that and work with Sheriff Driscoll on that, and are so proud every year when we have those who graduate from that program. The Small Business Development Center is a collaboration between the college and all of our communities, as well as with the county. And right now, really working on the Building Businesses and Entrepreneurs BBE program. And I will tell you, our SBDC recently won an amazing award that is both state and national for the work that they have done, especially during COVID and working with small businesses. And I've always said that, there are times when different programs are doing really well, and then times when they're just kind of waning a little bit. But usually, if you have the right person in the right place, then that program can grow and be successful. And that's what's happened with the SBDC. They are doing amazing things. And then another big partnership that I feel like we've had with the county, and I don't know if you call it a partnership because basically they're the ones giving us all the help, but our COVID response and the COVID testing and vaccinations. And we were able to have the very first testing site over on our 4th Street campus because it came about during spring break. So our campus wasn't full of students and cars at that time. And then they did move it on out after spring break when our campus would be full. Then we also have been working with the county on testing here on this campus and on vaccinations. But one thing that the county has done that is wonderful and has been so helpful to us, all along the way, they have read when we work on our response and things change with COVID and how we are going to work with that on our campuses, the county reads that information and gives us feedback and helps us make it better and helps us when we've missed something or didn't quite understand something. So that partnership with the county has been significant to us in how we have responded to the pandemic. And I'd like to thank all of the supervisors for that. Steve, would you like to say something?
Yes, in all these areas and more, there are so many more partnerships that we can connect and start discussing. I know with Arizona at Work, Workforce Investment Opportunity Act, we recently hired a new executive director who came to us, who's coming to us from Southern Louisiana. Billy Francis served as, in his past role, as the Workforce Development Director for a community college in the South. And so we're definitely looking at additional opportunities there. And then also Detention Academy. We've had some discussions. The sheriff is very interested, and some of the law enforcement jurisdictions are interested at some point creating a law enforcement academy that expands beyond detention for Northern Arizona. And I know that Sheriff Driscoll has approached some of our legislators in terms of some potential funding. SBDC, when we look at some of the work that's going into the American Rescue Plan work, some of the supports for small businesses and sectors of the economy that have been impacted negatively, that is certainly an area of attention. And then COVID response, as Dr. Smith indicated, Coconino County was one of the first counties in Arizona to stand up a testing site, and the partnership with CCC for the county to utilize the 4th Street campus was much needed and appreciated because we could not have done our rapid response to setting up the testing had it not been without the partnership with the college. So thank you.
Okay. There are lots of other things going on and lots of other opportunities, and I get excited about that because certainly different people, Steve will bring ideas to me, but we have other people from our community and the county that bring ideas, and so it's exciting what we can do moving forward. One of the things that I wanted to share with you is that we have recently had several of our folks work on a grant. We call it NASANTI. It's the Native American Serving Non-Tribal Institutions. And it's a $2.1 million grant that we recently found out that we are receiving. And it's really exciting because it is going to help us reach out more across the county. And as part of that, we will be having, there are many other elements to it, but two of the exciting elements that we will have Indigenous Student Success Centers, both in Page and in Flagstaff, and really reaching out to our Indigenous students across the entire county. And they've got lots of great ideas, and there's a lot of great information that's in this grant. This was our first time to apply for this grant, and we got it. And that is, that's very unusual on your first time to apply for a government grant like this. So I'd like to thank all of our folks who helped work on that. The next thing I want to talk about is a P3 project in Page. So once again, I'm trying to share with you that we are doing our best to serve all across the county. And one thing that even though we talked about what districts they're from, but just so you'll know, Joey is from Page, so he's our board member that lives in Page. And Eric is from Williams, and he's our board member that serves in that way. And we've started new programs in Williams as well, working with hospitality and some of the training that they're asking for. But this is a different project, and we're very excited about it. A P3 project means public-private partnership, and this is the kind of project that is being done at various schools across the United States. And we sent out a RFQ to see if there would be people who would be interested in working with us. And we have a group that's working with us and the city of Page. And we are working to develop plans for both student and workforce housing on our campus in Page. Now, we aren't paying for that because we don't have money like that to fund something like that. But we know it's difficult to find housing here. It's even more difficult in Page. And here, yes, sometimes it's quite expensive, but you can find it. In Page, you can't even find it because there's so much of the housing that has been bought up for vacation rentals. So we've decided that going for student and workforce housing could be something that would be really exciting in helping us serve in northern Arizona, in the northern part of our county. And the original idea for this came with talking to several of the businesses and marinas and hotels there, and the whole idea that they bring in seasonal workers, and yet there's no place for seasonal workers to live. So when it's high season, people going to the canyon and to Lake Powell. So the idea is that in this housing, we could have arrange our semesters a little bit different than we arrange traditional college semesters, and that then the seasonal workforce that comes in could live on campus in housing and then start the semester, this is just an example, perhaps October 1, and maybe have like a 12-week semester or a 10-week semester. And but that helps with that seasonal workforce. We also want to do some housing for employees because there's no place. We have a hard time hiring employees because they can't find a place to live. And we know that other groups, the hospital, the public schools, other groups are having that problem there. So the group that we are working with is called Gentera, and they are working to help us get federal grants, and they're working to get funding to go forward with this project. And this is just an idea, an example of the different phases of the project and how it would be on our campus in Page. And along with this, we intend to really grow the programs. One program we've been asked for years there has to do with marine technology and servicing small engines, that kind of thing. So if there's a place for people to live, then they can come to school. So there's all kinds of exciting things that deal with this project that we're working on. Then I wanted to share with you, some of you remember this, it's really been put on hold for a few years now, but a few years ago, I went and met with Lena Fowler, our supervisor that serves in that district. And I said, you know, why don't we develop a higher education center on our campus in Page? And I think Lena might have looked at me like I was crazy, and she said, well, I've wanted to do that for years. I thought it was, you know, that I had this great idea, but she had this great idea quite a bit of time before that. So we were able to work with NAU, Dene College, and Navajo Technical University. And we put together ideas for developing a higher education center and people being able to teach from our campus. So we would teach the first 2 years of programs in the general eds, and then any of the other colleges and universities would be able to teach out whatever programs. One of the programs I think that Dene College was very interested in was education. Because Dene College does have a 4-year degree in education, and we know that we need teachers in Arizona. And so that's just an example. But it was the whole idea of the design was so that the schools would not be offering the same programs, but different programs. That way the programs could be successful and not be competing with each other. Well, of course, the pandemic came along and a lot of things have been put on hold. But I think this is something we may end up coming back to. Now, I don't know if Lena's still with us, if she wants to say anything about this, because she worked on this pretty hard.
Are you out there, Lena?
Yes, I'm here. Thank goodness, Colleen came around just the right time. We were struggling with this idea, and my goodness, thank you again, Colleen, for helping us make it happen. She already knew how to put a consortium together, and so now I think that is, it's the only way that we can really serve the rural communities, and especially in that region where people travel long distance just to attend college and try to get their education done. And a lot of times too, the classes that people are taking, they have maybe 1 or 2 more classes to get done, but just the nature of the class schedule, sometimes it's a ways out. So in this consortium, they'll be able to meet their requirements by attending other university and college courses to meet the needs, and they'll be able to graduate right away and be able to use their scholarship. So it's just such I believe still that it's such an important consortium, and I must say, I don't know if we could have done it without Pauline. She came just at the right time, and she was so excited about it. And during at this time, I think we need to pick it back up and see how we might be able to stand it up. Of course, it needs funding, and it needs its coordinator, someone to really take it and have it stand up and meet with the other institutions again and really make this happen. I think it's really important that we all work on it and make sure that the citizens or residents in that region be able to attend classes and complete their classes like everywhere else. So thank you again, Colleen. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, thank you, Lena, for all your support, because you've really supported that whole idea. And Kay Liam is with us tonight, and I know she would be ready to pick it back up and see where we could go with it. Did you have something you were going to say?
No. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is we've worked with the legislature for the past few years to try to increase funding to the community colleges. And some of you may know that during the downturn in the economy, when higher education and all of education was the funding was cut so badly, that was all across the United States. Well, when I came here, there was an article in our Chronicle for Higher Education, and it said that out of all the states that cut funding to higher ed, that Arizona was the #1 who had cut the most funding to higher education. So that's not really where we want to be number one, but that's, you know, and then of course, you know, I had friends in other states where I had worked saying, now, where are you? And why did you go there? And because we are up for a challenge, that's why. And so then a few years later, there was another article and it said slowly that states are starting to return some of the state funding to higher education. And then it said, except Arizona hasn't returned any funding. So I thought it was interesting that we were pointed out in both of those. But what is more interesting to know is that with all of those cuts that came about, and they came about before I was here, and there were painful decisions made in higher ed all over the state and probably in K through 12 as well. And I know our district governing board had to work on that. But with all of that, this college has moved forward and reallocated and, you know, pinched pennies and done everything we can to serve our entire county and to start new programs that have been requested and that are needed. And one of the things that has helped us is that we were able to get some legislation passed for career and technical funding. We've had it 2 different times now, and it was one-time funding. So a lot of people use one-time funding to order a lot of equipment, but we use it to try to make programs happen. And it's like, well, okay, if we spread it out over 3 years, then that's a full-time faculty for that many years. I mean, we all work together. And so some of these are things we've been asked for continually. Our automotive technology program, I've been asked for that since my first semester here, and finally we have local automotive dealers working with us because it is an expensive program. And no, we can't build a $10 million facility, but we've got a great facility because of partnerships, and that's what's made all of this happen. The CDL truck driving program, again, we had been looking and trying to figure out a way to do that. Our county had asked for that, local businesses, many folks had asked for that. And it was through partnerships that we've been able to make this happen. And I just heard that there's like a waiting list now, and every student who's graduated has immediately been picked up and has a job. So we still have some problems to work out because we need a place for to drive the trucks. And so we've been trying to work with Camp Navajo, and there's a little bit of a holdup there, and we've found out why we may be able to, but why we may not be able to. So we still have some work on that, but we're going to keep reaching out and partnering with people because we're seeing that this program is very successful. Early childhood education is another one that in listening sessions across the county, I was asked over and over again for this program. And it was one of the programs that the college had to cut when the funding was taken away, the state funding. There weren't as many people in the program, and you have to make hard decisions. We were able to bring this program back. We've used this CTE money. And again, it's a matter of getting the right person in the right place because this program is going very well. And I hear many wonderful comments about our professor in this program. He also teaches education classes for students going on to complete a bachelor's degree in education. Assisted living caregiver certificate. This is a new certificate that our Allied Health and Nursing program has started during COVID, obviously meeting the needs of the community. And so I'm so grateful that they've put extra, I mean, they all have full-time teaching loads and work really hard, but then they try to figure out ways to develop new programs because they're needed. Then we have Google IT Support Professional Certificate and Amazon Web Services Certificate. These are certificates that are new that will help people get right into the workforce. And so our faculty had to do a lot of professional development and get on board and get ready to teach these areas. So if you know somebody that wants into the workforce and they're going to make good money and they like computers, that's a way. We also have a cybersecurity Associate of Applied Science degree, and we're going to be working on some shorter kinds of certificate experiences with that so that If somebody in small business wants to take a few classes to help them with their cybersecurity, they can do that. And we've also increased the number of students in our nursing program, which we had to take down lower, certainly with the decline. We received a Dell Web grant for $1 million, and we were able to improve our construction trades facilities and equipment and expanded programs to be able to offer more in welding, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, solar, and sustainable building. Our problem is we don't have enough faculty to be able to teach all the things we need to teach. And so those are some of the challenges we're trying to deal with, because that's where we need ongoing funds, is to be able to hire faculty. So a couple of years ago, we worked on legislation. The college has tried to do this several times, has gotten close several times, but either it wouldn't make it through the legislature or the governor wouldn't sign it or whatever, but we got it passed. So this is important legislation. And what this does, it's the way it's written specifically for Coconino Community College. At least 20, but not more than 35 years after the date of an initial approval. So 35 years, you just heard us say, we've been here 30 years, that's our anniversary. So we got 5 years here to try to make something like this happen. A community college district may resubmit a proposed amount to be raised by primary property taxes for approval by the voters. The proposed amount must be less than or equal to 2 times the authorized levy amount for the same year. The election shall be held on the 3rd Tuesday in May. So you can see where I've left out some information. I'm just showing you kind of what the guidelines are that we have to follow to be able to do this. And why would we even want to do it? Why would Coconino Community College even want to? Now, you can see from this chart where the community college tax rate, the primary tax rate for us is 43, almost 44 cents. The next lowest, so the one we're closest to after that, is $1.11. So you can see what a huge difference we have all the way up to one of the counties, which is over $3. Now, the yellow bars in this show schools that receive special funding from equalization, and this was for a law that was put in by a legislature quite a while ago, and it was for a specific college, but now these other colleges fit. So besides what they receive in their local property tax, they receive equalization funding on top of that comes from all of our taxes. It comes from state taxes. So this helps, I think, show the first college, the yellow bar, is the smallest college in the state as far as the number of students and the number of credit hours that they serve. Coconino Community College is the next smallest, and then after that is Mojave. So by showing you the total revenue, and we used FY20 because that's the most recent when we have actuals instead of estimated. So you can see how much lower we are. Now, this is where I am so proud of not only our district governing board, but our folks. Because our folks are innovative, they're creative, they find ways to do things that may seem impossible with this kind of funding that you see here. But this is why there is a need, so that we're not always scratching for that one-time funding and then trying to stretch it out. If the college were to go for what this law says that we can now do and go for a increase of our primary tax rate, you can see where we are in the dark red, the 43.9, okay, so 43, almost 44 cents. If we were to do half again as much, that's where the next level is. And if we were to double our tax rate, that would put us at 87 cents, we would still be by far the lowest in the state, 87 cents versus the $1.11 for Maricopa. But because we are such good stewards of public funds, and we're creative and we're innovative and we reallocate and we make things happen, it would be amazing what we could do for this county if we went forward and were able to get ongoing funding. And that's what a reset of the primary property tax rate would do. And so you see, we would still be the least funded as far as total revenue. And that's why I think it's important for you to see this. But we would do great things for this county. And I just wanted you to understand that. Our board will be discussing this in the future and making a decision about whether or when the right time to be. During the pandemic has not been the right time, and yet now there's only so much time left. But certainly we have all been, and our board especially, sensitive to the idea of what the pandemic has done to everyone and how we've all been struggling in different ways and for different reasons through the pandemic. So moving forward, what are some of the things that our district governing board could decide? They might consider freezing tuition for a certain amount of years if we knew that we had ongoing funding. And our board, I tell you, whenever we have the discussion on tuition, our board pains over it because they do not want to raise tuition. That first part of our mission statement that is so important. I wanted to go back to that for you because it talks about Coconino Community College is committed to providing accessible and affordable educational programs that prepare students for the future. And our board is very serious about that, and they pain over any time we have discussions for increasing tuition. Now, all of these programs we've been starting and that we're trying to find ways to keep them ongoing. Of course, if we did go for a reset of our tax rate, that would be a way to keep these programs ongoing, as well as potential programs, some that have been requested by our communities, some that show up in the Arizona Community College Strategic Vision Report. And so these are just a few ideas. There are more, but the idea is serving our county in the programs that they tell us that they need. So that is all of my report. If you have questions, we have a lot of our deans and vice presidents here, and they could answer questions. And if you'd like to discuss any of this, just let me know.
All right, do you want to handle this part? You want to handle the question and answer?
Yes. Other questions or comments for Colleen or for Mr. Peru? Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I could make a comment on the list of the programs that Dr. Smith showed, that new programs, also contemplated programs. As a service organization, the county relies heavily on our resources within the county. And just recently, we were informed by our Public Works Department how important the commercial truck driver program, the CDL program, is. We've already had, I think, several of our employees go through the program, and the savings in terms of not having to send staff to Phoenix and tying up their travel, et cetera, and cost to attend a training in Phoenix where it could be provided here has been a huge advantage to the county. In addition to that, when we look at the professions or the trainings that were on that list, probably many of them, if not all of them, as an employer, we have that need to have a trained workforce. And so having that local resource to be able to have our workforce trained and job ready is key to our ability to provide services. And I think for most employers happening right now is just an apparent shortage of skilled, qualified individuals to serve key positions. And so again, having higher education resources here within the county is really important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more comments from the trustees or the supervisors?
I'll go ahead and comment. First and foremost, I always supported your intent to, find, and I think we always have been there. So as you work on this, we've been friendly to those type of approaches on it. Definitely a great need, but as you noted, Dr. Smith, your work as well as your board, you have performed miracles, considering. And, from once upon a time, the storefront approach to modifications of but your needs and the growing desire of people to come to the community college, you definitely need it. So appreciate it. I did have to pause for a moment when you were talking about Lena, and oh gosh, she already had that idea. I'm sitting next to this Citizen of the Year, this Nat guy over here, and I worked on the open spaces and greenways, a loop around Flagstaff, and said, yeah, I worked on that quite a bit. Somebody was asking me about it, and said, did you come up with that idea? And I had been in a conversation with Nat prior to that. He says, oh, yeah, good ideas. They have a way of just coming around over and over. They talked about it a number of years on it. And so, yeah, good ideas continue to flow. But these programs that you are working on, as Steve had noted, the CDL, we had the opportunity to be there at the opening, but we know the need has been out there so much for so much of our community. And now, while we're in you can see we have a supply need. A lot of that is associated with just the dire need in trucking to have those with CDL licenses, and particularly in the region. So just so important a program, and definitely appreciate it. So we definitely have our eyes out and watching the work that you're all doing here, and you're just so critical to our community. So great highlights, but you're doing so much more. The other piece on the partnerships I want to acknowledge is that in both cases, for you as well as for us, we have a lot of staff out there with expertise that are working together and helping support. And then the last piece that's a little off subject, but I really failed on protocol. We have our county recorder out in the audience, Patty Hansen. Raise your hand, Patty. I didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't see you out there, but she's been working hard with us on redistricting, and very important to acknowledge Patty being here on that. But thank you, Dr. Smith.
Yes, thank you, and I really appreciate the update, obviously, President Smith, and I want to say that CCC is certainly a big part of really what makes our community great. And not only have you been able to provide an opportunity for affordable education, career and technical training, CCC to NAU, and a great opportunity for many of our local residents here and in Page just to take ongoing education, because we know education is a lifelong process, and you are part of that. So I just, for you and your staff, your students, thank you so much for what you offer to our community, what you provide to our community. It is absolutely fabulous under unbelievable circumstances what you've been able to do for us. And then, last but not least, you have a wonderful facility here that you have opened up to our community. I know it's been limited because of COVID, but you have opened up to our community for so many wonderful events, from working with Lowell for the 50th anniversary of the landing on the moon, to many space for nonprofits, and I know you will continue to be a center open to everyone here in Coconino County. So thank you and your staff and your board, your wonderful board, for all you have done and to help make Coconino County a wonderful place that it is. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And your words of support from the Board of Supervisors mean so much to the staff that are here and that we'll hear about it later. It's very important. We're on the same team. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate what my colleague said, just about the great job that Coconino Community College does for the community. It's such an important part of the pipeline for folks. Not all kids that come out of high school are ready to go into college, and so, or into university level, and so coming to Coconino Community College as that bridge, super important. And then all the workforce development projects and programs that are available, the CDL license, all the emergency technician stuff, all the different programs that are available. It's just really impressive. And I moved to Flagstaff in 1989, so just before Coconino Community College was founded. And so to watch it grow and expand over the years, it's really impressive. And I really commend you, Dr. Smith, and the rest of the staff for all your hard work and everything that you've done. You have a beautiful facility. You've opened it up to the community. You've hosted the Mexican consulate here. We've had chess tournaments here. That's the last time I was in this building, was for a chess tournament. So I just really appreciate all the different ways that Coconino Community College has supported the community. So thank you for your service.
Well, thank you so much. Trustees, do you have any comments you'd like to mention at this point? You'll have a chance. Okay, let's move on then to action item 9. And
That's where I'll grab a hold of this one.
Ryan will preside.
So in this case, while we're joined in a joint meeting, as we do actions, we have to do it as each organization. But we have a very special one, and it is acknowledging, we have a proclamation here to officially launch Coconino Community College's 30th anniversary. And the proclamation reads, Coconino County Proclamation, with that title I just read. Whereas Coconino County Community College marks its 30th year anniversary, providing an opportunity for Flagstaff citizens to reflect on its impact on the educational success and economic development of its citizens. And whereas more than 100,000 students have attended community college since 1991, Coconino Community College's faculty, students, and staff contribute to the overall well-being of our community through the affordable and accessible education. And whereas Coconino Community College offers transferable credits to all Arizona universities, certificate programs providing the community with well-trained employees, and it is an educational resource for lifelong learning. And whereas Coconino Community College represents our community's commitment to supporting education for all ages and ethnicities, Coconino Community College serves as a designated Native American non-tribal serving educational institution. And whereas Coconino County would like to recognize a year-long celebration in appreciation of the efforts of all the citizens of Coconino County that have made Coconino Community College a reality, including the district governing board members, the college's foundation, its faculty and staff, city officials from throughout the county, county officials, business leaders, and the taxpayers and citizens of Coconino County who have supported the college through their tax dollars and continuing financial support. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Coconino County Board of Supervisors, on behalf of Coconino Community College, do officially launch Coconino Community College's 30th anniversary and encourage all citizens to participate in the activities planned here forth in a year-long celebration.
As a CCC champion, it is my great honor to move this proclamation as a motion.
I have a motion by Supervisor Horstman.
I'll second.
I have a second by Supervisor Vasquez. Any discussion?
No discussion.
No discussion. My discussion, I'm a community college graduate. I needed it so much coming out of the Marine Corps and launching me into community. Yeah, there we go. And so with that, I'll call for the question. All in favor of the motion, vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Motion carries.
All right. Very
All right, we're now at the point of information and reports, and I believe Dr. Smith has So,
And Steve, we're going to kind of do this together. One of the things, when we talk about legislative advocacy and things that we need to work on together and things we have worked on together in the past, I would like to make a comment about what Chair Ryan spoke about earlier, that yes, the college has gone forward and asked, had ballot initiatives for overrides in the past. And what some people don't know is we would go all over the county making presentations, and county supervisors would accompany us to many of them and be there to support. And even though we could talk about the college and why the college needs these things, one of the things that we cannot do is say, please vote yes. And I know Supervisor Ryan was with me presenting at, I think I'm remembering one of the firehouses in Munns Park, maybe?
We did go to Munns Park.
Yeah. And we had that with several of the supervisors supporting us, and I'm very grateful for that. I feel like we have had that support, and just want you to know that we appreciate that very, very much. We found out, as going forward in the whole idea of legislative advocacy, you may have heard on the news last night, the Community College Promise Program of Free Community College is one of the first things that has gone by the wayside. So that's not in the bill anymore. I thought if it was going to be, that you might have questions about it. And so I had done all my research to explain to you how that would work. But it is not part of that bill anymore. But we do have things both at the state and federal level that we work on. And I know one of the things that the community colleges will be working on has to do with the expenditure limitations. And I think that is something that affects a lot of us in different ways. And then we also will be working on ongoing funding to help support career and technical education programs. So those are some of the local things we'll be working on.
And Mr. Chairs, each of us has jurisdictions and subdivisions of the state, and the county's example have the opportunity to approach legislative bodies, state legislatures, as well as, of course, Congress, on a variety of issues. And I think oftentimes we have a very, very clear message of what our agendas are, but sometimes we're not aware, and maybe the purpose of this conversation is to become more aware of what each other's legislative and congressional agenda is during the year, so that as we're having those discussions with legislative bodies, well, we're going to be providing information on our particular legislative agenda, we also want to be able to share what others are. And so just given the circles and the networks that each of us run in, have the opportunity, again, to be aware of what the community college's legislative agenda is, and then also for the college to be aware of what ours are, because I think oftentimes, it may be thought of either or as opposed to together. And so Dr. Smith and I had the conversation, and we'll be working with our new public affairs director, Troy Williams, to create an awareness of what the community college's legislative agenda is and how we can be aware of it and support those conversations while we're down there as well. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Our next agenda item is announcements. The next DGB meeting will be December 8th, 2021. As mentioned, there'll be some work sessions between now and then. Our next foundation board meeting is November 30th, 2021. Are there any other announcements?
We do have a board workshop next Wednesday, and it is a Zoom workshop.
Eric?
No announcement. I just want to give kudos to Steve for suggesting this very first joint meeting, and I hope it is not our last. And I do want to express our appreciation. I'm sure that we appreciate your support for us. Thank you so very much. If I'd like to say, whoever did this AV setup, it is superior. Well done.
Any other comments from the trustees? Thank you. Board of Supervisors?
Well, I'll go ahead and start out, and first and foremost, well, actually, a piece of business real quick here. Because we have, I'm used to doing Zoom, so I go through each supervisor and I got to check with each one. Did you do this? Did you do that? So because Lena is on technology, zoomed in, so to speak, she did vote aye on the proclamation for the clerk's benefit on that. But to start off, reciprocal exchange and just a real appreciation of hosting us. Really great idea, well overdue, really needed to do this and like this. And Nat and I didn't practice. We're going to work on our act as we go along. That's Nat with an N, and just one T, and Matt with two T's. So, with an M. Anyway, it's so important. Often we might be working on similar issues. Your note of the workforce housing, it's an area that we know it's a great need we're all challenged with right now with the cost of housing and where it is. We are working on short-term rental legislation, which is an indirect impact associated with that. But there are elements that we cross over on, just you may not be directly involved with, but you might want to know about, and vice versa. It's great to hear the programs that you're doing and what you're doing for the sake of our community. So it definitely is, we appreciate this opportunity and want to do it again, I believe.
Yes, absolutely, and thank you for hosting us. It was wonderful to see you all again. It's wonderful to be somewhere in person, actually, so that in and of itself is very exciting. And also, obviously, we do have a lot of partnership, a lot of connection, a lot of the same goals, and so we look forward to working closely, with the community college to basically go forward with our legislative agenda that really helps the people here in our community. And I can't believe this is the first time that there's been a joint meeting, so I want to thank the county manager and the president for their leadership on getting us all together, and I know this will be the first of many. So thank you very much.
Just thank you for hosting us. This was a great meeting, and it was a great opportunity to actually meet people in person and listen to the presentations and whatnot, and keep up the good work. Our community needs your inspiration and drive to help develop our community, and hopefully we can achieve those goals you were talking about for the next 5 years. Thank you.
And then it might take a second, but Lena? I know you're out there.
Hopefully.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, everyone. I just wish I was there. I really miss seeing everyone. But these days, we have to make sure we're taking every precaution that we have to. And I feel fine for like 6 days or 7 days, but I just found out this afternoon. So anyway, I thought I'd gonna get tested tomorrow, and I know I'll be fine, but I thought just for everyone's health, just want to make sure that we're all healthy. So I decided to stay back. But thank you again for all you do. Colleen, you are a blessing to our area. We came and just said, yeah, we can do this. Everything that we proposed, it was just absolutely wonderful. Board, CCC board, you are great, and very supportive of everything that we bring, and just their vision for the community across the board. It's just really great, just your partnership and trying to think of ways to provide service to those that are not able to access. I go to the state campus in the middle of the night, I used to anyway, if I'm there, and there they are, they're still sitting there, and you still have to, because that's where the internet is. They can't go home yet, and they still have an hour and a half drive back, and they sit there, students sit there, and they do their homework. I always found that amazing to watch them to being so dedicated and having the campus still open and making sure that they get what they need done. So I just want to thank you again, and everyone stay safe. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Just one more item just a note of business, because it was a meeting, it was streamed, so this was also recorded, so we should be able to have that out on the county website. That'll take a little time, or no, Lindsay? Could you say that louder?
It is linked to the county's YouTube account, which is a link on our website, and we can share that with all of you.
It will be on our website. Yes.
Yep.
It is, no.
It is.
Yep.
Okay, being no further business,
Wait.
Is there any way, we could do it very quickly, everybody here is either a member of the college or of the county. Could we have them just quickly go around and introduce themselves?
That'd be
I
excellent.
love it, yeah. If that's okay with you, Mr. Chair.
that's fine with me.
Thank you.
Hey, sit down. Oh,
You can't move it. You have to come up to the mic. I promise.
I can't pull it out of the stand?
Can't pull it out of the thing.
I thought he was running to get out of it.
That's what I thought too.
While you're up,
Yeah, while you're up, go ahead and start for us.
I'm Nate Sutherland. I'm the guy that tried to break the mic. Provost, Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs here at Coconino Community College.
There's one over here.
Hello, I'm Sue Brown. I'm the Deputy County Manager for Coconino County.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jamie Van Ness. I'm the Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer here at the college. Welcome.
I'm Cheyenne Grabiak. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator.
And we do have members of our public here also, if you would like to, you're welcome to.
Hi, guys. And you will have to come up to the microphones. Part of the reason the AV is so good is Peaks Audio has set this up very specifically. So I'm April Sandoval. I'm Assistant to the President at Coconino Community College, and I'm also the board recorder.
Hello, I'm Arena Contreras, District 2 Director for Supervisor Vasquez with Coconino County.
Gregory Nelson, District 3 Director for Supervisor Ryan. Thank you.
I am Bob Wojtek, Director of Financial Aid and Veteran Services.
Good evening. I'm Patty Hansen, Coconino County Recorder, and wonderful meeting for both of the boards. Thank you very much.
Kimberly Batty Herbert, and I'm the Dean of Learning for the Arts and Sciences.
Cool.
Good evening. My name is Tony Williams, and I'm the Dean of Student Affairs here at CCC.
Good evening. I'm Gail Lowe. I'm a CPA here in town. I'm the treasurer of the CCC Foundation Board, and I'm a CCC champion. I'm your biggest groupie.
Yeah.
She is.
Good evening. Sunny Marbury, Executive Director of Accounting.
Hi, good evening. I'm Dietrich Sauer, the Head of Human Resources for the Community College District, and it's great to see you all. Thank you for coming.
Hello, my name is Brian Wilson. I'm the Director of Information Technology for Coconino Community College.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kurt Stahl. I'm the Executive Director of Facilities and Security.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Benton. I'm a full-time faculty member in American Sign Language and American Sign Language Interpreting Studies, and I'm the current president of the Faculty Senate.
Hey.
Susanna Rodriguez. I'm the Assistant Director of Accounting.
My name's Keith Becker. I am the Systems Administrator here at Coconino Community College. This is my lovely wife, Louise, and our service dog, Susie Q.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm the girl from Page, also known as Kay Liam, and I'm the Executive Director of Extended Learning.
Nice.
Hello, I'm Beth Otterstein, Community Member and CCC Champion.
Hi, everyone. I'm Giovanna Macri. I'm an Instructional Technology Advisor here at the college and the Staff Council Chair.
Hi, I'm Bobby Cedillo, Director of Purchasing and Auxiliary Services at Coconino Community College.
Hi, I'm Colleen Karskalin. I'm the Associate Dean of Learning Services here at Coconino Community College.
Hello, Brian Harris, Marketing and Events Coordinator at Coconino Community College. And we saved the best for last.
Larry Hendricks, the Senior Manager of Public Relations and Marketing for CCC. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
What a great group.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. That was a great idea. And then I'll start again. Having no further business, I would like to declare this joint meeting of the supervisors and the district governing board ended, adjourned. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Well done.
I was going to.
Oh, I got.
I don't know how I didn't know.